few days ago, and somebody made the interesting comment. They said, well, what makes for successful content? Like, because I said I'm going to talk about successful content. I thought that was a very good comment, because it's true. What is successful? Is it getting the most likes? Is it having the most views? Is it what is successful content? So we're going to touch about that a bit today, and hopefully ways maybe you can be more successful, and hopefully it'll reflect myself and make me more successful in making content too. So, hello again, chat box. I'm reading everything. You guys are super positive, and I'm loving it. It involves my old roommate, Brett, who's in Canada, and his Askell dog, Buster. Now, funny enough, we just had a great advocacy talking about stray dogs. This is a stray dog who was saved by my roommate. They fell in love with each other, and it's in Canada. But anyway, I want you to look at the bottom right. You might see 120,000 likes and 5,000 comments and a whole bunch of shares. This was my most read post last year. Not as much as the other posts, but it had a lot. So, was that successful? Well, I want you to think about this. So, those 3 posts I just showed you guys, personally, I think they were all successful because they're content I wanted to make. But there was one that really stood out the most to me. And before I tell you which one, you guys can guess in the comments section if you like. What I'd like to do is I'd like to tell you why I make content. So, happening on the internet. What can be really, really good for whatever you're doing is just kind of creating your own niche and having things stick. So, before I ever started this online content kind of journey, what I did is I grouped it under one thing. Hashtag becoming Filipino. And everything I was ever going to do was always going to have hashtag becoming Filipino as a part of it. It was unique. It had never been used before. And it was something that I really connected with. It wasn't me trying to be a Filipino. It was me taking positive experiences I'm having here in the Philippines and having those become a part of my life. That's why it's the hashtag becoming Filipino. And sharing those things. So I grouped it all under that. And since 2014, everything I've ever created will always have that in it. And that can be very helpful because as you grow or as you create content, it creates something that people can always come back to. For example, my smile sign. I don't know if you see it there. There's a big story to that, but I'm not going to share it because it'll take too much time out of this talk. You can read about it. I posted about it before. But I would carry that thing around with me everywhere I go. It was a simple reminder to me, and I would always include it, or often include it, in my social media. And it became something that people also would see often and connect with. It was my own trend, my own, current thing. Or super appear on the top right. You can see there's a logo. Somebody made that for me 6 years ago. But on the bottom right, it's me giving it an appear. That's actually in Iligan City, 2015. Funny story. The reason I started super appear was my tita in Cebu. I wanted to give her a high five, appear. So I knew it was appear. Yay, appear. But I asked her, Tita, what if I wanted to be really awesome? What word can I use? And she told me, she's well, if you say salamat kaayo, it's adding emphasis. Or if you say kaayo, you can add that term to a word and it makes it really emphasized. But I was maybe it could just be super. So I just said super appear and she kind of laughed and we had an appear. But then I don't know, I just kind of liked it. It made me feel good and it reminded me about, life is super and there's a lot of cool things you can appreciate, even appear. So I started connecting that to all my posts, everything I was doing, whenever I made an appear. And that I guess became one of my own things. I kid you not, I'll never remember being in BGC in 2019, walking down the road, and a tita who must have been maybe in her late 70s, just walked across, looked at me and went, Kulas, super appear. They gave me a super appear. I was oh man, it's really cool. So you can create your own trends or your own things. And again, guys, don't expect them to trend and go viral and be something that, everybody's going to be doing. But if you make them personal to what you're creating and they're always there, they're great reminders for yourself. And then you never know, they might grow with your audience and become things that connect your audience to you. So, definitely, when you look at trends, don't just look at challenges, dances, current events. Think about unique, what you want to create.